Quickly, before we dive into this video then, just a couple of quick disclaimers. Of course, once again, this is a race setup, not a time trial setup, of course. You will probably be able to go faster on one lap pace, but these are designed to obviously improve your consistency over the course of a race stint, of course. This is all well and good being able to put it on pole when you just spend all race spinning. Now, of course, again, if you are already a league racer, this setup and sort of tips probably aren't the most useful thing in the world. This is more geared towards new players that are trying to learn no assists, and also, of course, that aren't really too sure what to do with setups, and of course, don't really just want to use one from a time trial as well. Of course, obviously, faster setups are generally coming with people are learning more and more about the game and everything like that. So down the line, of course, you know, maybe sort of just after Christmas, I might do like a second version of this where we go through with hopefully all the new tracks as well, of course. But obviously, the other big thing, you know, like I said, this is for people that are trying to learn no assists as well. You know, if you're trying to learn no braking line, sort of your braking markers and everything like this is meant to be like your one-stop shop for F1 2021 setups. A massive thank you for all the support on the one from Bahrain that obviously we uploaded a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to try and make these a bit more consistent over the rest of the game cycle as well. But yeah, hopefully you guys do want to enjoy. If you missed out the Bahrain one, definitely go back and check it out. But yeah, let's dive into this. Hello everyone, and welcome back, guys, to a brand new video where today we're here back with episode 2 of our F1 2021 hot laps and setup guides here. Of course, taking you to the Spanish Grand Prix. Yes, a very, very weird track on F1 2021, I'll be honest with you guys. I've never really known the Spanish GP circuit to be anything like it is on this game. Curbs are lethal on F1 2021. That is going to be my first tip for you guys. Avoid a lot of curbs around this track. Of course, as always, there will be timestamps linked down in the description below. Of course, we'll run through the setup. I'll let you guys watch the lap. I'll then talk you through it with breaking points and everything like that. And then, of course, we'll do our final discussion points as well, of course, here ready for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's a one-stop race normally on F1 2021 if you start outside of the top 10. It's a medium-hard strategy. Otherwise, if you're inside the top 10 on the softs, you're probably going to have to go softs, mediums. Obviously, a very, very difficult track to overtake at as well. Really, your only opportunity is down in towards turn 1. But in terms, though, of the setup for this one, we are going to be running, I think, pretty high wings once again. Obviously, like I said, Spain even more aero-dependent than Bahrain last time round, of course. And, you know, on F1 2021, like we've said, you have got to run a lot of aero there. So 7-9 wings I'm running on this one. We're going to be running about 55, if I remember correctly, on the diff as well. Of course, that's really, really important just to make sure. Personally, for me, I prefer much lower diff settings than we've seen on previous games as well there. Minus 2.8 and then minus 1.8 there, and you can see 0.07 and 0.26. And then you can see on the suspension we're going to be running 3.5, 3.5, and then I think we're going to be running about 5.7 actually to try and avoid the bump later on around the lap. We're going to run 4.6 actually for this one here today. Then 95.55 on the brake bars. That's where I'm comfortable with at the moment on F1 2021. They're massively dropping the tyre pressures, of course. Really high tyre pressures, great for one lap pace, but certainly not over a race stint there. So 21.4 on the fronts and then 20.3s on the rear as well for you guys. But yeah, I'm going to let you guys run on board with the lap and then we'll get into the technical parts. So there we go then. That is a lap of the Spanish Grand Prix, a 1:15.691. Not the best lap in the world. There was obviously a couple of little mistakes, but trying to get one lap hooked up perfectly around here can be very, very difficult then. Heading down, though, towards turn 1, you want to be braking pretty much perfectly at the 100-meter board in towards this first corner. Of course, the biggest braking zone on the lap's obviously really, really important. You do get it right. You can try and use a bit of curb. There is some talk still about some weird bump that can happen, but if you're running high ride heights like I am, I haven't had any issues with it at all here on F1 at 2021. So we're going to slow down the footage there. You can see the front suspension does still bobble a bit, but nothing all too much to worry about there. Down towards third gear through the first corner there, short shift straight back up into fourth. Want to try and get the wheel over that inside curb there. I'm avoiding the curb through turn 2, probably slightly quicker to touch it, but again, it's all about consistency with these laps. You know, you want to be able to do these lap after lap after lap there. Through turn 3, back up into 6th gear there. Obviously, this corner absolutely flat out in qualifying trim. You will need to blend during the race, and of course, you can get on the throttle completely through there as you head up to turn 4. Then, of course, obviously, the short blast down in towards turn 4. Here, you want to brake just before the shadow there. You can see we've just started nudging on the brakes. Again, you can be a little bit braver on the way in, but personally, yeah, I just don't think it's worth it there in towards turn 4. The key is to really sweep out wide on the exit, but do not get over that curb there. You've got to be patient on the throttle on the exit of turn 4 as well. There, as you can see there, get it down into third gear, tuck it in, and then get back on the throttle on the exit of the corner. Turn 5 is a really, really difficult one there. Just as the track falls away from you, you want to get back down onto the brakes. They're really, really important. You get as close to that inside curbing as you possibly can. They're down into 6th gear there, and once again, short shifting back up into third. Use all of this curb on the exit there. You can see getting right over the paintwork. And then as you head down into, weirdly now, one of the most difficult corners of the lap there. Again, brake just as you reach the outside curb there. Really avoid the inside curb through here on F1 at 2021 there. You can use the outside curb there. You can see struggling a bit with oversteer this time around to straighten the car back up. And then, of course, the short blast up in towards turn 9. Turn in just as you hit the curb. I'm leaving it in 6th gear there. A little bit of blend on the throttle. Not quite confident to try and take it fully flat out here on F1 2021 there. I'm going to be really, really careful on the curbing on the exit there as you head now down into one of the other big braking zones. Down in towards turn 10, you actually want to be braking just on that little orange barrier you can see on the outside, or the little black box as well, either just before the 100-meter board there. Of course, use up all the curbing you can on the way into the corner there, and you can see really try and get back down the gears. Use the engine brake whilst you can. Obviously, the old layout of the turn 10 on F1 2021, unfortunately, down in 2nd gear there, and you can see short shifting back up into 3rd on the way out there. Very, very easy to oversteer if you use too much curbing on the exit there. I'm going to have to watch the rest of the lap quite slowly, obviously, because all the corners come thick and fast. That huge oversteer moment as we head through a turn 11 there and back down into 3rd gear just to try and get the front end in a bit more. And you see we do short shift back up into 4th gear not long after when we're trying to get back on the throttle on the exit of the corner there. Really use a lot of this curb on the exit. Obviously, it opens up turn 12 as well, which is really, really important there. And again, you just go back down the 1 gear, braking just before the black box there. You can use 3rd like I've done here just to get yourself a little bit more rotation, but it's really not essential on F1 at 2021. Rotate the car back over, brake under the shadow in towards the final, which became really, really difficult to get hooked up. Of course, just be a bit careful, be a bit patient with the car. It will eventually tip in there, and you can see on the exit of the corner as well. They're obviously using up all of the exit curb, and now just one more flat out corner to go to the end of the lap there. Try to avoid using the inside curb there. You can see over that bump, you're going to have one of the most embarrassing over rotation moments in the world there. And out of the final corner, activate the DRS, and that is a lap of the Spanish Grand Prix. So what have we learnt then from this video? Well, Spain can be very, very difficult to try and get a lap hooked up on F1 2021. Like I said, this lap wasn't the best in the world. I think this one really is one of those ones where time trial, you can find a lot of time just by being stupidly brave and running obviously a stupidly aggressive setup as well, of course. Here you can see on this onboard, yeah, a little bit temperamental in a few places, I think rather understandably. I like to hope as well, of course, for you guys. But you will eventually get there with this track. If you're still struggling with the rear end a bit more, try obviously upping the ride height. Obviously, if you're struggling a bit over a couple of the bumps there, and obviously change your diff settings around a bit as well. I seem to have found on F1 2021 that 55, 65 generally for me works quite well. Obviously, around 80 for this one. There was a little bit more oversteery to try and show you guys, obviously, a little bit of a quicker time as well, of course. But yeah, if you do need even more consistency, lower down that differential on throttle, you know, towards sort of 65, 60% if you really need to as well. Of course, consistency is key on this game. And obviously, if you don't want to have to be rewinding or anything like that, you know, having a bit more of a consistent setup that is a couple of tenths slower isn't always the end of the world as well, of course. Like I said in the first video, of course, if you guys have got any more questions here on F1 2021, please let me know down below as well, you know, whether you need any more tips or tricks with this game. You know, it is very, very difficult, especially if you are a newcomer to the Formula 1 games or sim racing in general as well. I'm going to try and do like a setup / wheel buyer's guide as well at some point if that's something you guys are interested in as well. But yeah, we'll be back very, very soon, ready for the Monaco Grand Prix Hot Lap. That one is going to be interesting. Of course, none of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to the Travesty, Patrick, Chuan, David, and Ben for becoming channel members. Of course, if you want to be featured in these end clips below, make sure you click that join button and you'll get access to some other exclusive perks as well.